All right. Hello. We
Right,
are live.
Hi, friends. Welcome to Clareo Real Estate's live show. We are here today with Mari, Christy, Deborah, and myself. That would be Mari Rollins, Christy Laughlin, Deborah Morton, and Sydney Pratt. I believe Chad Hull and Whitney D. Pasquale will be joining us any moment now. Possibly. Sydney, what are we talking about today? Today we are talking about the shifts that we're seeing in the market and just what inventory levels are looking like, days on market, things like that. And we have lots of information here to share with y'all about West Cobb and East Cobb. So to kick this off, what we're talking about, now you're getting a glimpse into Clareo Real Estate, the inner sanctum.
Yeah.
Pull the curtain behind and you see our true nerdy selves coming out because we love data. And as the market is transitioning, the news is scaring everybody right now. And there's what we want to bring to you today is some reassurance that there's nothing to be afraid of.
Right.
The data shows some really good things about a more balanced market as we transition from a crazy white hot market that nobody has seen before ever. The rising interest rates is causing a lot of conversations. And, a looming recession is in the news.
It is.
But how is that affecting our real estate market?
Yeah.
We have houses available to sell. And that is good news for the buyers that are out there. Rising prices, that's all what we're going to break down for you today. So a little bit more about Clareo Real Estate. You want to talk about the markets we serve, Mari?
So right now we're going to be specifically talking about East Cobb and West Cobb. And so with that, it encompasses, Marietta, Kennesaw, Ackworth, Roswell, touching some aspects of Alpharetta, but it's a huge area that we serve.
Yeah, those viewers who are not necessarily in the area, if you're watching from out of state, an important thing to know about Metro Atlanta, you'll hear there's the city center, Buckhead, Midtown. There's some really cool things in the center, in the heart of Atlanta. Outside the perimeter, we have an outer perimeter that rings the city, and we're talking about the suburban areas just north of the city. It's a very wide swath. Marietta, Georgia, where we're located, where our office sits, encompasses two areas. It's kind of like I-75 is the divider between West Cobb and East Cobb. And Cobb County is the county specific that we're talking about. One of our other shows, we talked about the tax benefits and all the benefits of Cobb County living. It's a great place to raise a family, retire, grow old together. But that's separate. What we want to talk today about is pricing in Marietta. So we pulled the data on East and West Cobb. We are noticing more houses on market.
Yes.
Right? Should we talk a little bit about what we're seeing from a buyer's perspective? What are you seeing out there right now?
We're definitely seeing that there are more properties on the market. We're also seeing that properties that are not priced correctly they're staying on the market longer.
Right.
So we're not in that frenzied market any longer where every property is getting 5 to 10 to 15 to 20 and above offers.
Right. So what are you seeing with some of the things when you're taking buyers out, Christy? What are you seeing?
They have more options now. I mean, they have more time to think on it. So like you said, they're not in this mad rush of a frenzy and getting into a home that they might not like in a year and regret buying. And so they have more time to think and they have more options to look at. So it's kind of a nice pace for them to go at.
Right. So what does that mean for our sellers? If somebody has waited to see what was going to happen and had some thoughts about selling their property, what are you seeing when you're talking to potential sellers right now?
The bottom line is that you can still get top dollar for your home.
Right.
But I think buyers are a little bit more disconcerting where they're not willing to pay top dollar for properties that don't fit that price. And they're not quite as willing to be as forthcoming with 2 months temporary occupancy and some of the additional things that that buyers were getting a few months back.
Right.
So they're just becoming, you can still get top dollar, but you have to put the work in to get that top dollar for your home.
Right. So while we're watching, some of the key factors for if somebody's thinking, whether it's buying or selling, this is all information that you should be familiar with. We are seeing, as we broke it down, the East and West Cobbs, currently in East Cobb, there are 93 houses available to sale, which is still a very small number of homes for the size of the area. However, compared to 6-8 months ago,
it's a huge
that's wonderful to see. So that means there is a little bit of competition if you're selling your house because we have more available.
Right.
We looked for this assessment, we looked at our average buyers run between the $500 and $1 million price range. We cut out the lower price point homes, that a lot of those are investment properties and renters or first time buyers maybe. So we're talking about the resale, maybe a savvy buyer or seller who's had a home or two already. And not into the luxury market because that's a different story altogether. So the comparison, in West Cobb, we have 112 houses available active in the MLS right now. However, there were 58 of those were new construction homes.
Wow.
So in effect, half of that. So we have fewer homes available in West Cobbs that are ready to move into now to buy. The new construction homes are listed, but they're not necessarily complete, and it may be an 8 to 10 month wait, depending on supply chain issues. So the average days on market is now 43 in East Cobb and 55 in West Cobb. Again, our new construction skews that number a little bit, but what is most telling to us, and that we did not see 3 months ago, 26 price reductions, 28 price reductions. Price reductions, tell us what a price reduction means, Mari.
A price reduction ultimately means that you missed the mark a little bit on the original pricing. So the three things that sell a home: location, price, and condition. It's one of them is not matching up, and so the consumer is just not willing to pay that exaggerated price. So it has to become more relevant to the property, which causes us to do a price reduction.
So an over-aggressive seller thinks, I want top dollar for my home. Sometimes the best way to do that is to price it appropriately so that we have multiple buyers to choose from that will bid over, because that brings us to the sales price to list price ratio. 2021, 2020, when COVID was just ramping up and we were still figuring out the pandemic, in West Cobb and East Cobb, it was 98.7 and 99.5% average sale price to list price. So people weren't paying over list price in 2020. 2021, it went up to about 103% of list price, kind of equal, very, very similar numbers. 2022, we're seeing, and these numbers were all comparisons for May. So hot, the spring market.
The spring market.
2022 is 105.9% is the average in East Cobb, 103.6, 104% in West Cobb. So as a seller, when we're seeing price reductions, that means you priced too high, and now you are going to be looking at under your original list price. So pricing your home appropriately is the most important part of what your agent does for you. So if you're thinking about selling your home, having this data, accurate assessment, we know because we're local that the two parts of Marietta are distinctively different.
Very much so. Very much so.
Median sales price, we should probably hit on that. This is especially interesting because some buyers come to us thinking that there's a radical difference between East Cobb and West Cobb, and there's not.
Numbers show there's not.
Price point, there's not.
So May of 2020, East Cobb was actually a lower average price point at $330,000. West Cobb was $365,000, but that again is because there was more new construction.
Yep.
So new construction skews the numbers in what you're looking at, and again, why you need a local expert to help step you through the breakdown. And you want to work with somebody who enjoys this stuff,
Right.
because this is fun.
It is fun.
It's interesting.
We sit here crunching the numbers just for kicks. May of 2021, 445 to 425. Price differential, not that great.
Not that great. No.
2022, 527 is the average price in East Cobb, and West Cobb was 512. Price differential over the 2-year mark, we've seen a 37% price increase in East Cobb and a 28% price differential in 2 years in West Cobb.
Yeah.
The conversation we're having now is, what are our expectations coming forward?
Yep.
So that's the crystal ball that we all wish we had. But what we can predict is, with a looming recession, increased mortgage rates, which are not crazy, because we're not at an outrageous mortgage rate.
No.
Buyers can still buy. The question is, how fast will the appreciation and pricing continue? Our prediction is that it's slowing. And the reason is, we're seeing price reductions and we're seeing increased days on market. Those are the two factors that come into play as we're looking at pricing. So
I'm really happy to see it. I mean, I'm incredibly happy to see this start normalizing once again, you know, because it's good for everyone. It sets that expectation more realistic, and it puts everything back to a little bit more level playing field.
Yeah, it's still a seller's market.
It still is. Don't get us wrong.
We still have low inventory.
Yeah.
We would love to have your house to sell if you're in the Marietta area. The numbers show we still need houses to sell.
And you're still going to sell over
Yeah.
But there's no reason to panic. If
No.
you've been thinking about selling, and so Mara, you're talking to people who've been in their house 20 years.
Yep.
What's their biggest challenge?
Their biggest challenge right now is that they're still worried about where to go because they've been in their house so long. They're worried about that they're going to be paying so much more, but they're forgetting the fact that they've got so much equity in their home.
The repairs. What are we doing now for our, like, we've got 3 projects underway right now, and Christy's kind of helped coordinating. What have you found yourself doing, Christy?
Oh my gosh, everything. No, it's good though, and we've got really good people that we work with. If you do have repairs, that will work with us to help get that payment at closing. So you're not having to front the money. It's a concierge program. And so we have lots of options. So it's not so scary when you're trying to sell your house that you've been in for 30 years. You're not just packing up and leaving and having to repair everything. You've got options.
And that's the thing. And we're not saying that everything has to be done. You know, this is a communication between the seller and the agent, and figuring out what best suits you and what's going to bring you top dollar for your home. What's going to have the biggest bang for the buck?
And what's appropriate for the neighborhood
that you're in. Yep, that's right. Most of the time, it's as simple as painting. Painting is huge. And doesn't one of these.
So you're saying that there's a difference between a home that may be in the borderline Paulding County line, Ackworth 30101 zip code, Altoona High School. That home versus the 30076 Cobb County Roswell area.
Absolutely.
Those 2 areas are decidedly different.
They are.
And what we might ask somebody or recommend somebody to do in one area isn't going to be necessary in the other.
That's correct.
You have to speak to the market you're in.
And before anyone can make decisions,
look at the numbers.
Look at the data.
The data, the numbers, they always speak for themselves.
That's right. They do.
You can always depend on it.
Numbers don't lie.
That's right.
This has been fun.
Yes.
It's been fun.
So if you're thinking of buying or selling, we're here.
You got
We
options.
don't know what happened to Whitney and Chad. Are you guys still here?
They're working out there.
They're
They're
working.
doing something else.
So this is our weekly show. We would love to have y'all join us. There's Chad.
Sorry.
From this
Hey, Chad.
Writing up an offer. Sorry.
Yay!
He's
Woo, woo,
working.
go, Chad, go.
So behind the curtain, you got a good look at Clareo Real Estate today as we crunch numbers and talk more about how to best help our sellers and buyers achieve their goals.
Great information.
Again, we're all about creating a clear path to success for you in your dreams. Give us a call. Follow us online, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn,
Pinterest,
TikTok. There we
Any
go.
Find us
social
Anywhere.
We're everywhere, and we want to be your friends. We want to get to know you. Send us a message, give us a call, and we'll see you next week, Thursday at 1
Thursday.
p.m.
Bye.
Bye. That data is